first joined the church about 32 years ago, and I had 2 sons. While I was in the church, I had another son out of wedlock, and I was actually excommunicated for having that son. His name is Ephraim. And that didn't stop me from coming to church, though. I kept coming, but then ladies in the mother's room started saying negative things about my children. I could take it, but don't talk about my children. So I studied long and hard, and my mind's hard about it, and I was like, Lord, I'm just going to have to teach them the best I can at home, because I didn't know what was happening to them even in Sabbath school. And I just wasn't willing to have them go through for my errors. And I was subsequently rebaptized. I don't remember what the letter said about how long I had to wait, or even if I could be, but one Sabbath there was an altar call, and the Holy Spirit was just beating me down. Pastor said I couldn't come back. And next thing I know, I was standing up, and I was up front. And it was a huge baptismal class. They didn't even have a gown for me. I went in my clothes. I just knew it was what God wanted me to do. And I loved it. I was so happy. But then there were still my children. And one day, this young lady brought my baby to me. The girls always fought for who was going to hold my baby. I was in the mother's room. She was just crying. She said, I can't hold this baby anymore. I said, what happened? I said, was he crying? I hadn't heard him. She said, no, my mommy said that's a bad baby, and you can't hold him anymore. Take him to his mother. It was the last day I went to Glenville. It's like, this is just not happening. So I stopped going. That very baby that got me excommunicated, he is now a pastor in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And while he was attending Andrews University, they came down for an internship. And he wanted me to come one day. He said, Ma, I want you to come to one of the meetings. I was reluctant, but I went. He's like, Mom, you're just going to love it. I just feel it's time. So my son brought me, and when I got out of the car, I saw that great big baptismal pool. I was like, they're meaning business up here. So I listened to the songs and the worship, and then Pastor Edmonds had a word, and I started getting that feeling again. And I knew exactly what it was. I knew it was the Holy Spirit once again. And here once again, I'm telling him, stop it. So Pastor began the count. And I was like, I'm not standing up. I don't care how bad you beat me down, I'm not standing up. Next thing I know, when he said 7, I was on my feet. And before I knew it, I had walked down the aisle. I was at the front of the congregation. I had walked away and left my cane. And all the while I had been there, I hadn't seen Ephraim, and I was looking for him. And then all of a sudden, he runs up to me, and I mean, we stood there and we cried together. He was like, Mom, I felt it, I knew it, I knew it. And so I thought, I'd say, well, I'll sign up for Bible study. So I did that. But then I saw that pool, and I was like, okay, another time. So I came again the next night. And it so happens that my very son was performing the baptisms. And I told him, I was like, Ephraim, I think I should do it now. I said, will you help me? Because I was very nervous about the ladder. I was like, oh boy, that looks a little flimsy. And I've always had this thing about drowning. So I was like, son, would you help me? He said, Mom, I'm going to do it. So he helped me up the steps, stepped into the water. He walked me over, sat me down. And my baby baptized me.